Hi everyone, welcome to In Stitches with Mary. I'm here at Neil's Vacuum and Sewing Center in downtown Muscatine, Iowa, and I am excited you're joining me today. What I would like to show you is a project I've been working on for some time, and I would love it if you would join me throughout this coming year. If you'll look behind me, I have a quilt put together here. This quilt uses 9 10-inch blocks and 8 6-inch blocks. Now there are only 8 different blocks that are in this quilt. And each month throughout the year, what I want to do is to show you how to make each of those 8 blocks. Now you're wondering, okay, you just said there were 9 blocks. You're right. The 9th block is going to be a block of your choosing. Choose your favorite block that you just made and incorporate that into the quilt as well. At the end of these blocks, when I get done showing them all to you, I'll show you how to put this quilt together and what you'll need to do that. But for now, the one thing you will need is a layer cake, or a 10-inch by 10-inch stack of fabrics, a carrot gem, some are called that. But this entire, all the colors you see besides the background and the borders, was made using one layer cake of your choosing. I'm going to demonstrate to you using different fabrics other than this. This one is called Chasing Rainbows by Wilmington Prints, and I think it turned out very, very pretty. Besides the layer cake, it takes 2 yards of the background fabric and 2 yards for your sashing and borders and binding. And that will complete the top of your quilt. So today I want to show you this block right here. This is called Kansas Troubles. Now Kansas Troubles quilt block goes back to the Civil War ages, so it has been around for a long time. It looks a little more complicated than it actually is to put together, but I'm going to make that a little easier for you, I hope. So here's my 10-inch block, and if you look up here, I have the little baby sister, the 6-inch block as well. So let's see how this goes together. So to make the Kansas Trouble quilt block, the first thing you are going to want are the directions. Now they are available right here if you call Neil's Vacuum and Sewing Center. And what I have done in the directions is, using the layer cake, I actually have diagrams showing you how to cut each of the pieces you need so that you are using your fabric squares the most efficient way possible. For the Kansas Trouble quilt block, it's fairly simple. If you look at this, you're just going to make 4 different blocks. So we're going to look at it from that standpoint. To begin, you are going to need a rather large square. This square here is 5 7/8 inches, and we're going to need 2 of those. And you're going to cut those diagonally once. That's going to create your large triangle. I should point it out here probably better. That's going to create this large triangle right here. You're also going to need another square that measures 3 3/8 inches. And you'll cut 2 of those and cut those diagonally once. That's going to be this center half square. Okay? Then we're going to cut some smaller squares. Now this is just to make the 10-inch quilt block. 10-inch finished. When we get done sewing it before you put it in the quilt, it's going to be done at 10.5 inches. So we're going to need 2 1/8 inch squares. These are going to be these corners right in there. And we're not going to cut those. You're going to need several of these, let's see, I want to make sure I'm giving you the right measurement. This was 1 3/4, I'm sorry. This is 2 3/8. So we're going to cut several of these. Some of these are going to make our half square triangles, or they kind of look like sawtooth, don't they? They're going to be making those, and then we're going to cut a few of them on the diagonal for these corners. So you really do need these directions. You're going to want to focus on those. Follow the diagram for how to cut those so that you're getting the right number and cutting them in the colors that you would like. So now it's time to put this together. The first step in the process of making this quilt block, we're going to make these half square triangles right here. They're going to create that sawtooth effect that you'll see in the completed block. And you're going to take the 2 1/8 inch squares, lay them right sides together. Now these are of contrasting fabrics. We're going to lay them right sides together. And on one of them, go ahead and draw a line diagonally down the center. And we're going to stitch on each side of that line 1/4 inch. And then we're going to go ahead and slice that open. This will create our half square triangles. We're going to open those up and you're going to press it towards the dark side. Now once you have that pressed, you do want to clip off your little dog ears here, and you're going to be making 16 of these half square triangles. Okay, let's see how we're going to put this block together now. So here is the layout we're going to use for 1/4 of our finished quilt block. You're going to do this 4 times. So we're going to have our large our large triangle here. We've got our center triangle. And then here's our half square triangles that we just completed. Now you're going to want to really watch carefully the angle that this seam goes so that we are creating that sawtooth that we want. You want to make sure your colors are in the correct order and that you have that diagonal going. We have our smaller square, and then here are those 2 1/8 inch squares that we cut diagonally. They're now going to fit in right here. The first step we're going to do is to go ahead and sew this column together, and then we're going to sew these 3 pieces together. I'm going to show you what that looks like. The next step is to sew these sides onto our center triangle. We're going to start with what I have here, the 2 half square triangles and 1 triangle. We're going to sew that on here, match your corner up. You will have a little dog ear extending off. And then when you press that, I want you to press it again we're going to press towards that side of least resistance, which is going to be our center triangle. Press it towards the triangle. Once you have that sewn on, we're going to sew this side on. Same way, we're going to have a seam that's going to match here now. And I want you to sew that on again. We're going to then press this side towards our center triangle as well. That's going to help everything lay nice and smooth underneath. The last thing you will do, this should be one nice smooth seam along here, is to sew our big triangle on. So here is what that final block, or 1/4 of our block, will look like when it's finally sewn. As you've noticed, I've switched fabrics. I have a totally different layer cake here. This Christmas one that I was showing you is a Jingle Bell Christmas from Benartex. This one is called Leather and Lace and Amazing Grace, and this is from Moda. So it is a true layer cake. And I'm just having fun using these. Now in a layer cake, a lot of times you will see that there is a bit of a larger print. This is the perfect quilt block for that larger print with this half square triangle right here. But anyway, here's 1/4 of that. That's going to create, each of these squares in our quilt block. And when you go to put that together, you're going to create a pinwheel when you make this. So you want to lay them so that you create the pinwheel effect. Isn't that pretty, the way those half square triangles create such a unique effect? And it's really fun when you look at this. I have still provided in my directions, like I did with my quilt along last year, what it looks like when you put several of these together, and you almost get a curved effect going on here. Maybe a little menacing, but I think it's a very unique quilt block. It is fun to see it come together in different colors, so I'm hoping you will try some of your favorite fabric collections in your quilt blocks as well. So every month throughout the year, I'm going to show you a new quilt block. This was Kansas Troubles, and really fun to put together. Again, this is the 10-inch block, and when you go to do that little sister, here is the 6-inch block. Now you'll notice if you noticed, these are really tiny and I've got a little bit of a wave going on here. I'm not real worried about that because once you go to put the sashing around, as you see here and in here, that little bit of wave is going to disappear. That's all going to get absorbed in the quilting and things like that. So don't worry, these are small squares, very doable. Do the large one first, then you can do that little one. Okay, so I'm hoping you will join me throughout the year, find a favorite layer cake, and quilt along with me. If you are interested in the pattern, give us a call right here at Neil's. The phone number is 563-263-4543. And thank you for joining me.